Stretching for over 10,000 square kilometers across the southwest corner of Bolivia, the Uyuni Salt Flats are a breathtaking natural wonder and a testament to our planet's extraordinary beauty. This surreal expanse of white salt creates a mirror-like surface during the rainy season, blurring the boundaries between land and sky. Walking across this otherworldly landscape feels like stepping onto another planet, and the sheer vastness of it is mind-boggling and makes you realize just how small we really are. We're going to spend 3 days exploring this incredibly beautiful region of Bolivia, starting with the high-altitude lagoons and plains to the south of Uyuni, and culminating in an early morning visit to the world's largest salt flat.
If you're new here, we're Kitty and John, and we'd love to travel and experience new cultures. Whether we're watching volcanoes erupting in Guatemala or exploring the rugged landscapes of Scotland in our own backyard, our passion for travel never seems to fade. Recently, we've been spending much of our time in South America and have really fallen in love with the continent. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more adventures from this beautiful part of the world.
Our 3-day tour began from the town of San Pedro de Atacama in the north of Chile, the main tourist hub for exploring the surrounding Atacama Desert. This area of Chile is absolutely stunning, and we had a blast exploring its many unique and varied landscapes. So stay tuned in the upcoming weeks for our dedicated Atacama Desert video. San Pedro's dusty main street is lined from top to bottom with tour operators, offering either 3-day 2-night or 4-day 3-night tours to Uyuni. If you're wanting to stay in Bolivia after the tour, then opt for the 3-day 2-night tour, which will drop you off in the town of Uyuni afterwards. If you want to return to San Pedro after the tour to continue exploring Chile like we did, then you'll want to book the 4-day 3-night tour. This is what we opted to do with a company called Worldwide Travel. The tour cost us $250 per person, which included all transport, hotels, and meals, and the only additional things we had to pay for were things like national park entries, souvenirs, and bathrooms. If you are coming from Chile like we did, and make sure to change enough Bolivian pesos before you leave the country, because once you're in Bolivia, a lot of the places you'll go to only accept cash. What's up guys, I'm gonna quickly segue out of this video to tell you about Ratepunk Flight Deals, our new favorite platform for finding incredible savings on air travel. Ratepunk Flight Deals is a discovery service, not a booking platform, and works alongside existing tools like Skyscanner and Google Flights to bring you huge savings on your next airfare. Here's how it works. You set the main airport that you're most likely to fly from, and then sit back as their system automatically tracks and filters the best deals from that airport. Ratepunk's algorithm will scan flight prices 24/7 and alert you when prices drop, either straight to your email or via your dashboard. It's basically like having your own personal flight deal finder that never sleeps. We personally love the AI Flight Deal Finder, which analyzes deals based on their pros and cons, and then assigns each deal a percentage score based on how good that deal actually is. You can filter your search based on many different criteria, such as deal score or price difference, and search through curated collections like last minute, trending, and city break destinations. If you're tired of paying full price for flights, we highly recommend giving Ratepunk Flight Deals a try. Right now, you can get 70% off using our link in the description, and from then on, it's only $23.99 a year. Considering you can easily save hundreds of dollars on the best flight deals, we think the small yearly membership fee is great value for money. Alright, back to the video.
At about 5:30 a.m. on the first day, we left our accommodation in San Pedro and hopped on a minibus that would take us to the Bolivian border. We arrived at the Chilean checkpoint around dawn and witnessed a spectacular sunrise over the volcanoes in front of us. We then waited for over an hour at the checkpoint until it opened at around 8 a.m., in which time we had coffee and a simple breakfast laid out for us. Eventually, we made it to the Bolivian border control, where we lined up to get our entry stamps before being taken to our Jeep and driver. These Jeeps are basically your home on wheels for the duration of the tour, as they are the only cars suitable for covering the type of uneven terrain along the route. Your big bags get stored under a cover up top, so you just have to find space for your small backpacks inside the vehicle. Once we've loaded up, we traveled a short distance in the Jeep to the control checkpoint for entry into the Reserva Nacional de Fauna Andina, where we had to pay 150 Bolivian pesos each in cash. And from here, you could basically see our first two stops on the tour, Laguna Blanca and Laguna Verde.
We are officially in Bolivia.
country number, we don't count it.
No, I think it's like 45 or something.
It doesn't matter.
Pretty smooth border crossing. Today we are going to be stopping at a lot of different places, I think, maybe 5 or 6 different stops.
Be a packed day.
The first stop is this absolutely gorgeous Laguna Blanco. It's just stunning. Like, look at this place. And we're really just over the other side of the mountains from San Pedro. That's the volcano you can see from San Pedro. So what do you think of the transportation?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, it's gonna be in a Jeep, so we're kind of 6 of us plus the driver. We luckily got the back 2 seats, so we can actually place our big camera bags. So we have enough space for that, so that's quite nice. Although I'm pretty sure because we're at the back, it's gonna be a little bit bumpy for us.
Honestly, more spacious than I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be really cramped, but with only 6 people in there, it's not too bad.
After taking a quick stroll along the shores of Laguna Blanca, we drove a little further across the barren landscape and parked the Jeep on the rise overlooking Laguna Verde. As the name suggests, this lagoon was much greener in coloration and equally beautiful with the volcano towering behind it. We drove onwards along bumpy, uneven tracks into the Salvador Dali Desert, a surreal and stark desert valley surrounded by brightly hued mountains and filled with rock outcroppings formed by the high winds. Then we arrived at the Termas de Polques, where we paid 10 Bolivian pesos each to enjoy some soothing thermal pools with an absolutely incredible view.
After enjoying a freshly made lunch at the thermal pools, we drove on to our penultimate stop of the day at the Sol de Mañana geysers. This was the highest point on the entire tour and was truly an otherworldly landscape of boiling mud and sulfurous gases. We could walk right across the geyser field to get a good look inside each of the vents, some only as big as a plate and others that look like mini volcanoes. Eventually, we arrived to the final and probably our favorite stop of the day, the Laguna Colorada. This deep red lagoon was definitely the most visually striking location that we visited on the first day, and I immediately started comparing it to the planet Crate from Star Wars The Last Jedi. We could walk along a ridge overlooking the lagoon for some amazing views, but it was incredibly windy up there, so we quickly descended down to the edge of the lagoon to get a closer look at the huge colony of flamingos that were feeding nearby. After watching the flamingos for a while, we hopped back in the Jeep and drove for a couple of hours to our hostel in the tiny village of Villamar. Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 2 of our Uyuni tour from San Pedro. We stayed in this little village overnight after a really sort of tiring but really fun day yesterday. And then today we're going to do another bunch of little stops, eventually ending up in the town of Uyuni so that we can get up nice and early tomorrow morning and go out to the Salt Flats. So yeah, should be another fun and exciting day. The great thing about this trip is that we have zero expectations of what we're going to see each day. You know, we have a map that says all of the names of the places on them, but you have no idea what they actually look like. We didn't do any like research beforehand, so every single stop is a surprise. And the first stop this morning, we've just come on this little hike up to these beautiful rock formations, and the views are just spectacular. Look at this place. It's so cool. Only ones here. Every destination is a surprise.
After soaking up the stunning views from the top of the rocky outcrop, we made a quick unscheduled stop to watch some grazing llamas backdropped by snow-capped mountains in the distance, and then arrived at the crazy rock formations of Italia Perdita. These rocky outcrops have some very interesting shapes, from rocks that look like hearts to large natural arches. We could explore the canyons on the ground and climb up onto the formations themselves from some great views out over the surrounding area.
Then it was back in the Jeep a short way until we reached the rim of the Alota Canyon, where we could walk out onto a promontory to get some dizzying views down into the bottom of the canyon. From here, we could also see the sprawling quinoa fields that serve as such a staple part of the people's diets and livelihoods in this part of the world. We then descended into the small and somewhat deserted-feeling town of Villa Alota, where we stopped at a local house for lunch. This was probably the best meal we had on the entire tour though, and we left feeling very satisfied. Finally, the dirt tracks gave way to a newly paved tarmac road, which we would follow all the way to Uyuni. Along the way, we stopped in the colorful town of San Cristobal, where we could wander around the pretty church and local markets, as well as admire some of the cool street art on display. Then we traveled along the nice smooth tarmac road until we reached the outskirts of Uyuni and our final stop of the day.
We're here at the train cemetery just outside of Uyuni, which is a really crazy place. It's just this graveyard of train carriages and locomotion engines. The guide was telling us that like the first trains arrived here in Bolivia in the 1800s, and then they all went sort of out of service. At least these ones were stopped being used in the sort of 1960s. A lot of them are now in sort of a museum. What they couldn't take is kind of left here in this graveyard just outside of Uyuni. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can sort of like climb up on top of all of the engines, swings and stuff. It's a little touristy, but kind of cool. What's crazy is you can still just come in this attraction for free. Something like this, I would have expected it to be now sort of like a paid entry for it, but just outside of Uyuni and free of charge, and you can still just climb up on all of the train engines, pretend you're one of the conductors, see inside all the engines. Very cool.
We arrived in Uyuni as the sun was setting, and after checking into our hotel room, we headed out into the town to have a quick wander around. We wouldn't say there was a huge amount to see or do in the town of Uyuni itself. It's more a base for tourists like us to explore the nearby Salt Flats from. Main pedestrianized street through the center of town is lined with restaurants serving local cuisine and souvenir shops selling all sorts of knickknacks. We spent an hour or so browsing the shops and then went to a restaurant to sample the local dish of pique macho with a nice glass of vino tinto.
Let's go to Uyuni.
We left our cozy hotel room behind, loaded up the Jeep, and set off for the Salt Flats in the dark. After 30 minutes of driving, we officially drove out onto what appeared to be an enormous, very shallow lake, just as the moon was going down on one side and the light from the sun was beginning to appear above the mountains on the other.
We made it to the Salt Flats, and can you believe it? We have the reflection. The water is on the lake.
It's so beautiful and so calm, but very cold.
It's very, very cold right now, but it could be very, very windy, so we're very lucky that the wind is not happening at the moment and the reflection is really, really nice.
But definitely looking forward to have the sun up now.
Yeah.
Warm us up.
Definitely ready for the sun. But no, it's just gorgeous here.
It's like you're not on the same planet.
No.
The pre-dawn light, as well as the location we were in on the Salt Flats that morning, ended up being the best conditions we got for capturing the reflections in the water, so we braved the -6°C conditions for over an hour to make the most of this incredible, possibly once-in-a-lifetime experience. Once the sun had peeked its head above the horizon, we made a fun group video with the help of our driver, and then made our way slowly over to the Dakar Rally Monument and our breakfast spot at the Salt Hotel behind it.
It was really beautiful, honestly. But what the pictures don't show you is just exactly how cold it was. Like, my feet honestly felt like they were ice. Like, I could not move them at one point. It was worth it for how pretty and beautiful it was. Now we're just heading to breakfast, and then I'm not sure, maybe we're going to take some more photos or head back. We don't really know yet. The light this morning was just amazing. Definitely ready for coffee.
The Salt Hotel sits a little way out from the entrance to the Salt Flats and has a large canteen area where the seats and tables are obviously made from salt. We enjoyed breakfast and a much needed coffee and explored some of the rooms that were on site. Now they looked really cool from inside, but we can only imagine that they can get really cold at night. So we're actually happy that we had our nice and cozy hotel back in Uyuni. Just outside the hotel is the Plano de las Banderas, where you can see flags flying from many different countries around the world. Then after breakfast, we had a little downtime around the hotel to take pictures, which really gave us the chance to take in the scope of this insane landscape in the daylight.
The vastness of this place is just crazy. Like, you can't even see the end of it down there. It just goes on and on and on and on, all the way across to the mountains over there. Absolutely incredible scale. Largest salt flat in the world. Salt Flats live up to your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that we managed to come here kind of in the wet season to see that beautiful reflection. So that definitely, you know, is a big tick for that. The only thing is, obviously, because it's kind of wet, but also a little bit dry, so it's a bit of patches here. So you don't get that hexagonal shape.
You don't see the really dry
season.
lake.
That's a little bit of a miss. So far, it's been beautiful. It's just like huge.
The scale is insane.
It's incredible.
Like, you cannot see the end of it over there.
And then you see a couple of these volcanoes like peeking behind you, and it's insane. It's such a cool place.
We drove out to one final stop on the Salt Flats where the water was a little shallower, so the effect was slightly different again. Here we could see holes in the salt leading down below the surface, which showed us just how thin the layer of salt was in some places. We also tried to take some cool pictures despite the surface water, with varying degrees of success. In the late morning, we made our way slowly back to the edge of the Salt Flats whilst trying to soak up every second of this surreal landscape. All good things come to an end though, and after leaving the Salt Flats behind, we started making our way straight back to the Chilean border. It was a beautiful journey through both the evening sunset, with a herd of llamas surrounding us at one point, and the morning sunrise back at the thermal pools we had stopped at on the first day. A stunning end to what had been a truly incredible journey. To get to see the mirror effect on the surface of a Uyuni was a real bucket list item for us. Whilst getting to see the sunrise there was really special, we would have loved to come back in the evening as well to see the sunset, because by that time the clouds had gathered a little bit more, and we think the reflection effect would have just been so much cooler. If you do have extra time to spend in a Uyuni, we definitely recommend probably doing a sunrise and a sunset tour to make the most of the experience. We also felt at the time that we hadn't really got the full Uyuni experience because we hadn't been able to take any of the creative photos that make this place such an iconic location. Luckily, about a week later, we did end up going to the Salinas Grandes in Argentina, the world's third largest salt flats, and they were dry, so we managed to get some of the creative photos there that we hadn't managed to take at a Uyuni. Thanks for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like it. It really does help out our channel. And if you'd like any more information on any of the places that you've seen in our videos, then make sure to head over to our blog using the link in the description, because we usually go into a lot more detail there about a lot of the locations that we've been to. Otherwise, we'll catch you right back here on our next adventure.